Good morning and welcome back to our Advent devotional study. Just a reminder, we are following along with the Jesse Tree Stories and Symbols as found in the Advent Tree book by Pastor Kara Eidson. So today is week 2, day 3. Yes, day 3. So far this week we've looked at the symbols of the lamp and the globe, and today our symbol is the fruit tree. The fruit tree story, of course, comes from Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 19. So yesterday when we looked at the globe, we talked about creation and how when God looked at God's creation, in Pastor Kara's words, God was like, whoa, this is so good. And that was God's original intent, was for everything to be in harmony and balance and so good. And then we get to chapter 3, and as she says, it feels like when we get here, the wheels fall off. It's the story, of course, of Adam and Eve's sin by taking of the fruit of the tree, the one tree that they were told not to take and eat of. Pastor Kara reflects that one of the morals in this story is taking responsibility for our own mistakes and actions, because in the story what we find is everybody's playing the blame game, pointing the finger at somebody else. Well, yeah, I did it, but it's because they. You see, we do that. No one in the story steps up and says, yep, it was me. I messed up and I'm sorry. I wonder how different the story would have gone if that had happened. So in this story, we begin to understand what is meant by sin. It's a word that we know from the original language, means hamartia. It means missed the mark. It means we're not following the path that was intended. Pastor Kara says her go-to definition simplifies sin down to anything that separates us from God. So when we miss the mark, we're not following God. We're doing something that puts a wall up between us and God. On our end, of course, God doesn't go anywhere. God doesn't put barriers between us. But she continues reflecting that even in this story, when God is exceptionally mad, and for good reason, God is still merciful. Because God had told them if they took and ate of the fruit of this particular tree, they would die immediately. And yet God in his mercy did not cause them to die immediately. They were allowed to live long and fruitful lives long after their exodus from the garden. And of course, that life came with consequences. It was a life of toil. Things were not idyllic as they had been in the garden, and death would come one day, whereas it wouldn't have if they had never taken of the fruit of the tree. So in her book, she has a lot of other reflections which are really good. So if you haven't yet, you might want to go ahead and get this book. She has lots of good reflections. But she says, when we move toward God, we move toward faithfulness and fullness of life. We move toward the way things God intended it to be. And when we move away from God, we move toward sin and death, the consequence of our actions. So she says it can feel like the story of Adam and Eve is the moment when the wheels fell off for humanity, like when the moment everyone shrugs their shoulders and says, well, I guess it's just all downhill from here. But friends, we are part of the ongoing story of God. Ongoing story in which we have a choice between life and death, blessings and curse. We are part of the ongoing story, which includes sin, yes, on our part, but it's also an ongoing story of redemption and the mercy of God. So, friends, may that reflection bring you some peace this week, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.